I'm excited to introduce your speaker for tonight. Chantal Singer is a registered dietitian nutritionist for St. Joseph Mercy Health System's Michigan Heart and Vascular Institute, teaching plant-based eating and lifestyle medicine. Chantal is very passionate about plant-based eating for human health, planetary health, and animal welfare. Take it away, Chantal.
Thank you, Olivia, so much for that introduction. Thank you to Harrison Township Public Library and VegMichigan and my man Marshall behind the camera for really making this event happen and yeah, giving me the opportunity to share some delicious, simple, easy plant-based recipes that are perfect for summer. So kind of going along with the summer picnic potluck theme. If you're in Michigan, you know we've had some 80+ degree weather. Summer isn't technically until June 20th, but it certainly feels like it's here already. So on the menu tonight, we have mostly cold food is all on the menu. The first recipe we're going to be making is a recipe of my own that I created. I call it just a summer salad. It's a green leafy salad with some quinoa, edamame, strawberries, some other ingredients, finished with a sweet white balsamic dressing. The second recipe on the menu is technically a Blue Zones recipe. It's also posted on Forks Over Knives, and it's the mango and black bean tacos. I'm going to be making just a salad or a dip of sorts, if you will, today. And I'm going to show you or explain to you how I make baked corn tortilla chips that are oil-free, salt-free, but still have that awesome crunch and taste of a tortilla chip. The third recipe on the menu is it's from a blog called It Doesn't Taste Like Chicken, which is a hilarious name. Definitely check it out if you get the chance. And it's an eggless egg salad. So we're going to be using tofu in place of egg, and then a vegan mayo and some other awesome ingredients to really mimic an egg salad. And so it's really kind of more of a comfort food feel to that. Now, this presentation is perfect for anybody interested in plant-based eating. Maybe you're farther along in your journey and you're just looking for some new ideas or maybe some cooking tips or nutrition tips. This will be great for you, especially perfect for those who are beginners to plant-based eating. I'll also give some tips for making the transition to plant-based eating a little bit more smooth and yeah. So also before we get started, for those people who are newer, I wanted to give a few definitions of plant-based eating and what that means. You may have heard of a few different words. So whole food plant-based eating, and vegan eating. They're all pretty synonymous, but there's slight differences that I'm going to touch on right now. So whole food plant-based eating is a way of eating that emphasizes minimally processed whole plant foods. So you can think fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds. And this way of eating avoids highly processed products that are plant-based or vegan. It also avoids those oils and added sugars. So this is the best way of eating that we want to eventually move towards for reducing risk or helping in the prevention or treatment or reversing even chronic diseases, some of our top diseases like heart disease, diabetes, cancer, obesity, to name a few. And then plant-based eating is a way of eating that includes all those whole, minimally processed plant foods, but it also includes the processed products as well that may include more of those oils and sugars. Still a great way of eating, especially for the health of our planet and for animal welfare. And plant-based eating is really pretty synonymous with vegan eating. So again, they're all pretty synonymous, but slight differences. So the recipes that we're doing today are going to fall into the category. Some are going to fall into the category of more whole food plant-based eating, and then one and some ingredients will be more plant-based. So wanted to give a good variety for everybody, whichever state that you're at. And let's go ahead and get started. So like I said, we're going to start with the summer salad, and we've got a green leafy base. So I'm going to start chopping this romaine. All my ingredients, as always, are pre-washed, and some of them are pre-measured. We do want to wash our vegetables at room temperature for about 15 to 20 seconds, even if it's organic, just for any germs from the grocery store, any other pesticides that might be used. So good rule of thumb. So we're going to go ahead and start chopping this romaine, and I'm just going to do it into bite-sized pieces to start. Now, leafy greens are some of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet, particularly the more dark leafy greens. I really like romaine in this recipe because it's got the nice cool crunch for that texture, which is perfect. But I add some spinach in there to add a little bit more of those dark leafy greens for more nutrients. And then for color too. So it's going to be nice and bright green. So we got our romaine. We're going to throw that into a large bowl. And we will move our cutting board aside as we get the rest of our ingredients in there. So we do have the chopped spinach already. We're going to go ahead and add a couple cups in there. And then we have quinoa. So quinoa is a whole grain. It's technically actually a seed though, but it acts more like a whole grain because it's going to absorb water in its cooking process, and its nutrient profile is more similar to a whole grain. So lots of protein, lots of dietary fiber, lots of vitamins and minerals like zinc and iron. And it cooks really quickly. So I've pre-cooked it. It's like I said, it's just like rice or oatmeal in a sense that it's going to absorb water in its cooking process. Just 15 minutes, really quick and easy. And you do want to let it cool for this salad because we're going for a cold salad here. So when you're making it ahead of time, good to give it a chance to cool. You could put it in the fridge or the freezer to speed up that process. But we're going to go ahead and add that. That's going to add some nice, good substance for the salad as well. And actually, you could make this into a total grain salad if you did want to forego the leafy greens and add more quinoa. This could just be a grain-based salad, which is also great for potlucks and things. But love the leafy greens in there for, again, the extra nutrition and good crunch too with the romaine. The next ingredient we're adding are strawberries. So we have just some regular red organic strawberries sliced up here. Really great source of vitamin C and antioxidants and fiber. They're really full of water too. So this is true of most fruits and vegetables. They're super hydrating. Most of them are about 90 to 95%, or maybe even 98% of water content. So that's going to be really great for hydrating our cells and giving us a lot of energy. Next up we have is edamame. So this is actually called mukimami. It's found in the freezer section of most typical grocery stores. And it's edamame, but it's called mukimami when it's pre-shelled. So pre-shelled, edamame typically comes in a shell, and it can take quite a bit of time to take out each in the pod for stir fries or salads. So mukimami is the best one to go for salads and stir fries. But if you're just eating it as a snack, then eating it out of the pods is really fun. And this to prepare, it takes just about 5 minutes. You can do it in the microwave or on the stove. On the stove, you boil it in water. In the microwave, you just heat it up in a steamable bag. So very quick and easy. But it's also great for a salad. So we did let it cool, of course, and go ahead and add that in. That's going to be a great source of protein. We can get all the essential amino acids we need from plants, and edamame and quinoa for soybeans, young soybeans, they're great sources of protein. So really good quality. Lastly, we have, or actually not lastly, we got one other ingredient coming in here. This is red onion. So just a small bit of red onion, going to give us some good nutrients as well, and good flavor and add crunch to the salad as well. So sometimes onion can be really, really strong and kind of ruin the food if it's too pungent. And a good tip for this that I've been doing is to put the diced onion after you cut it up into a cold ice water bath for about 10 to 15 minutes. And that will help get rid of some of that bite, and as well as the dressing. So the vinegar and the dressing we're going to add is going to do that too. But that's just a good little tip. And actually, I just remembered, I don't think I gave a tip for the leafy greens. One thing that kind of changed my world is using paper towels. So when you get leafy greens like spinach or romaine or even other vegetables, this works for too. But from the store, you want to put paper towel kind of layered in the bag. That will help absorb some of the moisture in there and help prevent the leaves from wilting quite as quickly. So that will really help preserve the greens. All right, this salad is already looking delicious as is. We're also going to add some almonds. So these are just some crushed, raw, unsalted almonds. Great source of some healthy fats and vitamin E, which is really good for the brain. We're also going to get some other nutrients like magnesium, which is really great for our muscles and pretty much all of our entire body. And so just a small amount in there, we'll dump in there. And lastly, so before we toss that, we're going to go ahead and make our dressing. Now, this dressing is also really quick and easy, really simple. We're just using 3 ingredients, except for the salt and pepper in there too. So I do have a couple tablespoons of olive oil in here. Now, olive oil is going to be a food that goes into more of the plant-based category and not the whole food plant-based category. We still consume oil in our house, but in minimal amounts, just because it is a even though it is a healthful food, it has antioxidants and good healthy fats. It does still have some saturated fat in there, and it is one of the most calorically dense foods on the planet. It's a pure fat. So for people who are watching their weight, weight management, or watching heart health, it may be important to take a look at how much olive oil you're consuming. But this is a really small amount for the entire dish. So just a couple tablespoons. I also have some maple syrup here that we're going to be adding in there. And this is actually, I'm proud to share, Michigan made maple syrup. So I went to Holland a couple weekends ago for my cousin's wedding, and I went to the farmer's market, and I got this really cute, really cute little tiny baby maple syrup. And I don't think it was actually from Holland. I think it was actually gotten in Saugatuck or something, but definitely recommend checking out your local farmers market if you get the chance. It's great to support people in the community and support, local fresh food. It doesn't get much better than that. So the last ingredient in the dressing that we're going to add is a white balsamic vinegar. So white balsamic vinegar is really similar to regular balsamic vinegar, but it's clear rather than dark. So it's going to give a different kind of aesthetic and look to the dish. I do think it might be slightly sweeter than regular balsamic. So it's going to add a nice sweet note to our salad. So we're going to do just 2 tablespoons here. And you can make this dressing, if you prefer a more heavily dressed salad, go ahead and make a double batch. That's okay. I just like it kind of lightly dressed. But you can also make these types of dressings really quick and easy, usually just oil, vinegar, lemon juice, some herbs and spices, or salt and pepper. And you can make this into mason jars really easy, shake it up, throw it in the fridge. That'll last for at least 5 days, or about 5 days in the fridge. And so you can use that throughout the week for whatever salads you've got going on. All right, so I don't even really need to mix that up. That was just a few ingredients, but give it a good stir. Go ahead and dress the salad. All right, it just smells delicious. It smells really sweet and perfect for summer. So I'm just going to give it, we do want to toss it to make sure the dressing gets all around. If anyone has ever done this, it's all the toppings tend to go to the bottom. So we want to, get them from the bottom, stir that around, make sure everything is well incorporated. And so you get a good even bite of everything, but that is looking pretty delicious. I cannot wait to eat this. I wish this was in person so you guys could all get samples of it, but we'll look forward to the day we can be back in person and do that. All righty. So there we go. I'm going to go ahead and plate that. You guys can see what it looks like on the contrasted white dish. And I really love as I was saying, the contrast too, the contrast with the red strawberries and the leafy greens. It's just beautiful. And there's actually some good research to show that we enjoy food a lot better when it looks better. So it's good to take that extra time and make it pretty if you can. All right, so that is it for our salad. A nice summer salad, I like to call it. And we'll go ahead and set that aside. I'm going to do a little transition here as we get ready for our next dish. So bear with me here. So as I mentioned, this next one we've got going on is technically from Blue Zones. So it started from Dan Wetner is the guy with Blue Zones. And then it was posted on Forks Over Knives. So these two organizations are pretty in line with each other. They work really well together. Great resources. Check them out if you get the chance. And they do call it tacos, but we're making it's almost a salad, if you will, but I'll talk about a way to make it more of like a dip too. Okie dokie. Just kind of wipe this off here. Cutting board ready. So I am going to chop a little bit of red pepper here and grab our bowl. Okay, here we go. So we're going to start off with red pepper. And this is just an organic red bell pepper. The way I do it is I chop the top off first, and then we want to get off all the kind of ribs or middle part, white part in there, and we'll just go ahead and discard that. Get off any of the seeds. If you have some seeds in there, that's okay too. Red pepper is going to offer us a nice crunch to the salad. It's also going to offer some nice vitamin C and other nutrients. While I'm talking about different nutrients, kind of isolated nutrients in the foods though, I say that just to give some information about it, but it's really important that we not think about food. I mean, we also consider food as an entire package because it's coming packaged with tons of different vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals, antioxidants, fiber, water, all this good stuff. So I just say different nutrients just to highlight them and kind of what they mean and what they do. But there's tons of different reasons these whole plant foods are really good for us. All right, so I just took off the top there too, because this is still good stuff to add in. And we'll go ahead and toss that in our bowl. You could really use any bell pepper that you want. Red is really nice, again, with that contrast and kind of a rainbow colors. The CDC recommends that we have at least 5 different colors a day, naturally coming from fruits and vegetables. And this actually has 1, 2, 3, 4, well, including all the other foods, we have definitely 5 within this meal. Most, the different colors are going to offer slightly different nutrients. So that's a good reason why it's good to get a variety of different colors in there. All right, so next all we're going to do is pretty much just add everything into the bowl. So we do have some red onion. As I mentioned, I put this in that water bath, so it's a little less pungent. I'm going to go ahead and add that in there. And next, for the big base of it, we have black beans. These are no salt added black beans. Actually, sorry, they're just low sodium. Black beans are really cornerstone of the Blue Zones diet. So for those of you who don't know, Blue Zones are geographical areas around the world where people are statistically living longer, healthier, and happier lives. They have the most centenarians, so people living over 100 free of chronic disease. And that's really the goal, right? So if we're living into our elder years, we want to be happy or healthy and happy and able to move around and do things. And the cornerstone of Blue Zones diets are beans. So people in the areas eat majority whole food, plant-based. And I think so in these different areas, Okinawa, Japan highlights soybeans in the form of, edamame or tofu. Nicoya, Costa Rica highlights black beans. So this is probably where that recipe is coming from. The Mediterranean, I think, is more white beans or garbanzo beans. And then yeah, so really, really good to include at least a cup a day for beans, I think is what Dr. Greger recommends. I'll talk about his recommendations more at the end here, but yeah, a cup of beans a day is a really good way to get started there. Lots of dietary fiber, really great for feeling full, and really great for our digestive system. Our gut microbes love dietary fiber, so we want to make sure we get that in from an abundance of plant foods. Also a great source of protein too, not to mention. So, and vitamins, minerals like zinc, iron, magnesium. So tons of different nutrients coming from all these foods. And next we have mango. So this is actually frozen mango that's been thawed. Highly recommend doing this. It's really easy unless you like cutting mangoes. I think it can be a little troublesome to cut mangoes personally. So it's really easy to work with the frozen and thawed. Now, if you'll notice, there is a little bit of mango juice in here, and that's okay. I'm gonna keep that in there because that's gonna add kind of like a sweet dressing, if you will, to it. So of course, we're gonna get some natural sweetness in here, and it's also gonna offer some really good vitamins and antioxidants as well. So in a pretty color too, really bright yellow. All right, and next we have avocado. I didn't cut it too long ago, but it's starting to brown a little bit. That's okay. And this is just a couple avocados diced. So good, a lot of good healthy fats, a lot of good vitamin E, really good for the brain, and a really good substance. So we'll go ahead and put that in there. I did put some lime juice in there, so a little bit of extra lime juice coming in this dip. All right, now we have a little bit of cilantro. So this is a fresh herb. You could use dried, although personally I think it makes a really big difference when we use fresh. The flavor is just really great if you like cilantro. So cilantro is kind of like you love it or you hate it. There is something called the cilantro. Well, it's not actually called the cilantro gene, but people call it the cilantro gene because it's a gene where some people think that cilantro tastes like soap. And me personally, I love cilantro, but I can only use a little bit. If I have too much, then it starts to taste like soap. So you gotta be careful. Just, but if you love it, then definitely add more because it's all really good for you. Herbs and spices are really powerful anti-inflammatory foods. So they have a lot of antioxidants and phytochemicals, and they pack a lot into a small amount. So we don't even really have to use a lot to get great benefits, but it's really good to include fresh and dried. Dried is great too, especially for spices and things. So that is actually all that we have going in here. I'm going to go ahead and mix it up now. Oh, look at all those colors, if you could see in there. It's just beautiful. So beautiful. The avocado is starting to mash up a little bit, and that is okay. The mango might even do that as well. So like I said, we're going to kind of make a dip of it. You could put it into corn tortillas and have it be more like tacos, which is delicious. Put a little hot sauce or salsa on there. One thing you could also do is add a jar of salsa. So I'm not going to do this right now, but you could add a jar of salsa and make it more of a dip. It's a little bit easier to grab with chips when it's like that. But yeah, we're good. Wait, we're actually not good to go there. So I have lime juice in there because I had put some in with the avocado, but I'm going to put a little bit more in there. So we'll squeeze a little bit of that lime in there. And that it's going to offer a little bit of extra vitamin C. So I know we've got some vitamin C coming from the mango and the red pepper, but vitamin C, obviously great for the immune system, but it helps us. Vitamin C is a nutrient that helps us absorb iron better. So we'll get to absorb the iron from the beans a little bit better by all that extra vitamin C in there. So that's going to also help prevent the avocado from browning a little bit more. And then it's ready to dip. So now that the avocado is kind of mashed in there, it will make a better dip. But still, if you want to put a jar of salsa in there, for those who are watching their blood pressure, good to go for a low sodium jar of salsa. Kroger has a brand called Frog Ranch that's really good. And then Trader Joe's, if you're nearby, has no salt added salsa. So really good if you're watching your blood pressure. All right. And what we're going to pair with it to dip in are these tortilla chips. So I pre-made these. So quick and easy. All you need to take is corn tortillas. So I just had leftovers of these two brands. This was Ezekiel sprouted grain tortillas, and then Mi Rancho corn tortillas. Found at either Plum Market or Whole Foods or something. You can use any corn tortilla though. Most typical grocery stores will have corn tortillas that are naturally 0 milligrams of sodium, no fat. And all that we need to do is chop them into quarters or strips or whatever you're going for and bake them at 400 degrees for roughly 10 to 15 minutes. It depends on the type of corn tortilla that you have and your oven. I found that ours were, some of them cooked a little bit quicker, so they're a little bit more crisp. But I will show you here. I don't know if you can actually hear it, but I'm going to kind of, if you can hear that's a crunchy tortilla chip. So you get that crunch that you're looking for, but it's oil-free and it's salt-free. So best of both worlds. And I think we're good to go there. I think I might just dish it back into here so we can get, again, that kind of contrast of white to the colors. And we're all good to go there. Yum. I cannot wait to eat this. All right, we'll put that off to the side. Put that up here. And then we'll switch gears to our last recipe. So this last recipe, as I mentioned, is from a blog called It Doesn't Taste Like Chicken, which is just hilarious to me. And lots of good recipes on there. And this is the tofu eggless egg salad. Well, actually, this is going to be for later. We'll make the rest of the dish now. Now, for those of you who watched my last demo, you know that I love to make food that is really nostalgic. It reminds me of childhood. So a little personal story. I was raised eating meat, dairy, processed meat, processed foods, so not vegan. And the Forks Over Knives documentary is what inspired me to go plant-based. I learned more about some of the leading doctors of the movement who are doing some incredible work in the field for preventing and treating and reversing chronic diseases. And yeah, so I know what it's like to go through the transition. I know how challenging it can seem. And one tip I'd give is definitely to try to look for recipes that, are just vegan or plant-based versions of foods you already love. So for example, I mean, the taco dip we made today, it's pretty, it's similar to Mexican feel. And then with this egg salad, this eggless egg salad, it's going to mimic egg salad. So you still get that same mouth feel, texture, taste, but without the kind of detrimental effects that eating animal products or byproducts can have. So just a little note. Well, actually, let's go ahead and get started. And then I'll chat a little bit more as I'm chopping the tofu. So what I've learned in practice is that a lot of people are intimidated by tofu. I was too. It can be, intimidating when you don't know what to do with it, but this is like the easiest recipe to do with tofu because we're not even baking it or cooking it. We're keeping it as is. So I want to explain to you exactly how I went from where I started to where it is now, and then I'll show you that we are going to pat it dry a little bit. So with this recipe, we want to get a medium firm tofu. Extra firm tofu is really great for stir fries and meat alternatives. For the egg alternative, we want it to be a little softer. So the medium firm is the good texture to go for, although I have made it with extra firm and it still tastes really good. But all I did up until this point is I cut the package and then I drained the liquid. So that is all I've done up until this point. And what I'm going to do is I have some paper towel here. You could use actually a regular paper towel, but I'm going to put it in the center and we're just going to press down a little bit. We don't need a whole tofu press. We don't need to put books on top. We don't need to make it more complicated than it needs to be. Just get out a little bit of that liquid and then we'll chop it up. All right, so it's ready to be chopped. All right, so we want it to mimic eggs. So we're going to chop it into really thin slices at first. Kind of show you here with this example. And then we're going to chop it into little tiny cubes from there. And if you have pieces that break off, that's okay too. And then we're going to, whoops, run away from me, get those cubes. So tilt it the other way and get cubes. Oops, we're flying a little away from me. All right, so if you can see on screen, I'll just show you a little example of, this is what we're going for, just a tiny little cube. You could even do it smaller, but that's all right. Go ahead and add that much in the bowl so far. Now, I wanted to give one little note about the egg industry. You know, why are we avoiding eggs? So me personally, the main reason I avoid eggs is because I don't agree with a lot of the farming practices that the egg industry uses. So a lot of chickens don't see the light of day. They're pumped with hormones and antibiotics. They're super stressed out. And another really horrible thing that the egg industry does is that they kill a lot of baby chicks. So because hens are the ones that produce eggs, baby male chicks are essentially useless to the egg industry. So they grind up millions of little baby male chicks per year. So I personally don't want to support that in industry, but also not to mention eggs are a pretty big source of saturated fat and cholesterol. So especially for those at risk for heart disease, it's a really good idea to watch how many egg yolks we're consuming. And so doing an alternative like this is a great way to avoid all of that. And a little note about soy for anybody concerned about soy. What we've learned in recent years is that soy is actually helpful for preventing cancer, not promoting. It's helpful for preventing cancer. And like I said, some of those populations around the world who are living some of the longest and most healthy, happy lives, they're consuming soybeans and soybean products. So pretty good proof that these are really healthful foods. And really good sources of nutrients too. So we're going to go ahead and add that in the bowl. I think my chunks might be a little bigger than I'd like them, but if I was being a little bit more careful, could chop them a little smaller, but that's all right. And next, we're going to go ahead and add in the rest of our ingredients. Okay, so we have here some vegan mayo or plant-based mayo. This is Follow Your Heart. I do want to show the brand. We did end up getting a reduced fat. You don't have to. Like I said, this recipe is more of a comfort food every once in a while. So, you know, do with what you will. And this really has the same, it tastes just like regular mayo, in my opinion. And it's about 1/3 cup. So we're going to go ahead and add that in there, just like a typical egg salad would have. And then to give it a nice yellow color, and it's just for more flavor too, we're going to add some yellow mustard. So this is a couple teaspoons of yellow mustard. And then also to further that yellow color, well, actually, a couple things are going to give it more yellow color. We're going to add some nutritional yeast. This is going to add a lot of good savory, kind of umami, cheesy-like flavor. Just a couple tablespoons in there. And that's a great source of B vitamins, which are good for energy. It's a good source of protein. It's low in sodium and low in fat. Really good ingredient for a lot of different things. If you don't know about nutritional yeast, definitely get some. It's great for a lot of different foods. And then lastly, we're going to add some green onions. So this is going to add good nutrient boost and a good little crunch and flavor. That's just a couple green onions. And then lastly, what we're mixing up in here is we've got turmeric. So turmeric is going to be that bright yellow color that's going to offer, you know, more vibrant yellow. And it's also really powerful antioxidant content in there too. So actually, turmeric has been pretty well researched for preventing Alzheimer's or dementia. It's been shown to help remove plaque in the brain that contributes to that. So turmeric is a great spice to include. And like I said, we don't need that much to get a great benefit. We just got about 1/4 teaspoon in here. And then I've got some black pepper. And then we've got black salt. So black salt is one of the key nutrients in here that's going to give it that eggy flavor. Although we have made this recipe without the black salt. We just use regular salt, and it's still a delicious recipe. So don't feel like you need to go get this specialty item. Although if you want to see it, so it's funny because it's called black salt, but it's actually kind of like a darker pink almost. You can find this online if you can't find it at specialty stores in store, and it's gonna yeah, give us that kind of eggy taste. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump that in. And mix everything up. So pretty quick and easy. As you guys can see, I did not do like that much prep for this recipe. And the recipe itself online says it takes just about 10 minutes. So it doesn't get much better than that. And then I'm smelling it right now. It literally smells like egg salad, mostly because of that black salt. So probably a little bit of extra green onions in here. I had some kind of thicker ones, but that's okay. Good flavor and nutrient. We got some runaway tofu here. All right. Looking pretty good. And then finally, we're going to make sandwiches out of this. So I got some really nice fresh baked sourdough bread, which I think goes really well with this, but you can use any bread that you want. We try not to eat white bread too often in our home. We like to go for more the Ezekiel bread. That's a whole sprouted grain, but it's really delicious to have as a treat every now and then. So I'm going to go ahead and grab our bread, and I've got some butter lettuce here too. And we'll pile it all in. Yum. Cannot wait to eat this. Okay, we'll do a couple lettuce leaves. There we go. And there we have it. I don't know if this will look decent from this way. We could probably put a little bit of extra of the egg mixture in there, but super delicious eggless egg salad. And that is all of our recipes. So one last note I wanted to give, I want to kind of highlight these. I'll put them all in front here. I wanted to highlight a couple of resources that I use that's really especially helpful for those transitioning, or maybe even if you've been plant-based, maybe you haven't even heard of these resources, but the Vegetarian Resource Group is part of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, and they made a vegan version of the MyPlate. So MyPlate is the kind of new food pyramid, if you will, and this is the plant-based version. And as you can see, we've got fruits, vegetables, protein, grains, and then calcium. So for meals, we do want to try to get at least 4 or 5 of these food groups in, so we can get, a variety of nutrients to stay full, energized, make sure we're covering all our bases. And then for snacks, trying to get at least 2 or 3 food groups is a good idea, but by all means, it's okay to just have one food group at a snack. It's not like a must-be rule, but a good guide, if you will. So this is free. It's available online. It's the Vegan MyPlate if you want to search it from the Vegetarian Resource Group. And then the other awesome guide that we frequently use is Dr. Greger's Daily Dozen. So if you've not heard of Dr. Greger, check out this app. It's a free downloadable app. And these are all the food groups he recommends to include for optimal health and longevity. And so these foods are beans, berries, fruits, cruciferous vegetables, leafy greens, regular vegetables, flaxseed, nuts, grains, spices, and then he also includes exercise and beverages like water as well. So again, a great simple guide, easy to use. And a couple other tips for people who are transitioning at first. Number one thing is to find your why. So figure out why you want to go plant-based. Is it for the environment? Is it for animal welfare? Is it for your health? Are you at risk for chronic disease? Do you have a chronic disease? Stay educated on which area motivates you the most. And do it with somebody. If behavior change is a lot easier when we have support, and do it with somebody. So if you got any family or friends who are interested as well, that'd be awesome. Or healthcare provider helping you along is good too. And then also just it could work either way, whether you want to go about it gradually or go head first, dive head first, whatever is going to work best for you. Typically, what I've seen and what works best for me and people I know is doing a more gradual process. So, starting with just 1 or 2 recipes a week is really a lot more manageable, and then kind of building off that. But by all means, some people are just better at diving straight in, and then you'll get those health benefits quicker, typically, if you dive right in. So it's important to be patient, be positive, because it is a learning process, learning a whole new way to cook and prepare foods. So stay positive, and yeah, it's awesome. Thank you again all so much for being here. I hope I inspired you to make some of these recipes on your own, or add, just in general, just add some more plants into your diet. Every little bit goes a long way. So thank you all so much. I'm happy to take questions.
Okay. Someone asked if they could use kale instead of romaine.
Absolutely. You could definitely use kale. So kale, you could chop it up and throw it in there. It'd be great with the curly kale, though. It might be helpful to massage it for a little bit. So massaging kale literally means just taking your hands and squeezing the kale with some sort of vinegar or dressing. And that will help kind of break down the leaves a little bit to make it a little bit more palatable. But by all means, kale is still great if you don't want to do that. So yeah, either way, kale is a great substitute.
Absolutely.
Or addition too. You could keep all the leafy greens and do a little medley.
Okay, Debbie says, I've stayed away from romaine lettuce because of the recalls over the past year or so for contamination. Do you have any advice for buying safe lettuce?
Definitely wash it. So I mentioned rinsing it under room temperature water for 15 to 20 seconds, or getting one of those salad spinners too can kind of help with that.
Absolutely. And yeah, Chantal said, if you don't feel comfortable buying romaine, you can swap it for whatever kind of greens you prefer.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay, Audrey says, what if I don't want to use oil? Do you have any like oil-free dressing recipe suggestions? Anything to swap that with?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would just omit the oil from this recipe. And then you could add water if you wanted, or you could add just a little bit more vinegar. So do mostly vinegar, or even lemon juice you could add as well. And that would make it oil free.
Very nice. Okay, someone asked, how many people does this salad serve? I know you just put together the recipe yourself. Do you have any general suggestion of how many servings it could be?
I would say it makes about makes about 8 cups, I would say. And I don't really, so you could say maybe 1 cup is a serving. I don't typically recommend, hard serving sizes, just because everything that we eat each day is gonna differ based on, what we've eaten earlier in the day, how our activity level has been, our sleep has been. It all goes into account for recommended servings. So with this type of food, that is, I guess the oil, you'd want to watch how much you're having, but all the other ingredients are whole food plant based. So with whole food plant based, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, those types of foods we can eat in abundance, and we want to try to listen to our body's hunger and fullness cues as guides when to start and stop eating. Hope that's helpful.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think it does make about 8 cups.
Yeah, it depends if you're having it as your main meal, or you could have it as a side salad.
Right, exactly, exactly.
Definitely. Okay, Perry asked just another last question about the salad for now, at least. Does tearing up the kale by hand work the same as massaging it?
No, so tearing the kale is going to help get it into really smaller pieces, but the massaging is what's going to break down the leaves. So the massaging is what's going to break down the leaves and give us that softer texture.
Absolutely. Um, Okay, just a kind of general question about tofu. Someone said, do you advise baking tofu before using it in a stir fry so it will crisp up better? I don't know if you've done that or have any experience with that.
Yeah, you can do either or. So I've done you can bake it and it's really tasty that way. Sometimes if you roll it in cornstarch, that can make it a little crispier, but you absolutely do not have to. And then I've also stir fried it too. So you can chop it up and just throw it in a pan and stir fry it. Both great options. And air fry, you can air fry it too.
Absolutely.
All good options.
Okay, someone asked if nutritional yeast can be added to soups. Oh, someone asked if nutritional yeast can be added to soups.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Nutritional yeast is a great addition to soups. And actually, a fun recipe. I think it's Oh She Glows, maybe, or Simple Veganista blog has a vegan almond parmesan. It's nutritional yeast, almonds, salt and garlic powder, just blended in a blender or food processor. And it really mimics a parmesan, which is also really great for topping on soups or salads or anything. So but yes, absolutely. Nutritional yeast on its own can be in soups, pasta, vegetables, sauces, dressings, you name it. Really versatile.
Absolutely. Yeah, nutritional yeast is delicious. Okay, that's the last question we have for now. If anyone else has any more questions, feel free to add it to the chat. Jane asks, is there a substitute for nutritional yeast? She says it definitely doesn't agree with her GI tract, unfortunately.
Oh, sorry to hear that. No, I wouldn't say any. I can't think of any substitution, Olivia. I don't know if you have one, but I would just omit it from the recipe. Still tastes
Yeah,
delicious. Mhm.
I can't think of anything specifics to substitute it with. It kind of depends on what benefit you're looking from it. There are different vegan cheeses and stuff that you can use if you're looking for something cheesy, but
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Mhm.
um okay, oh, one more question asks, can you touch on the estrogen in soy?
Yeah, so the phytoestrogens, the only thing that I know about it is that the phytoestrogens, they attach to different receptors than we once thought, which is why they're actually helpful for preventing cancer rather than promoting. And for more information, check out nutritionfacts.org and just type in soy and or soy and cancer. And Dr. Greger has tons of videos, the short videos that really helps dive deeper into the science and explains the science behind it better.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely check out nutritionfacts.org. And that is on the resources Google Doc that I shared the link for just a little bit ago. So definitely check that out. And yeah, Dr. Greger has probably done a video or an article on almost any question you could have. So there's a
Yeah.
great search tool on his site so you can just, search whatever you're interested in. Okay, well, it looks like, we're almost at 7:30. It looks like that is the end of the question. So from me, just thank you so much, Chantal. That was wonderful. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Have a wonderful night, everyone.